item you would have to work on if you're going to do a program approval is to develop an articulation agreement. And an articulation agreement, if you had the culinary, baking, and childcare, you would have a statewide articulation agreement. So you would have to just use that or develop a one-to-one. The two, right now we have articulation agreements that are found with Messiah College. IUP is still working on that, but it would mean that your class would align to an introductory course at the post-secondary level. And you would have an articulation agreement where they would say, okay, when they finish taking this class, this is the class that they would not have to take at our college. So it's a seamless transition from secondary to post-secondary to have an articulation agreement. Now this is where I was going to show you a POS task grid. And then we have collegetransfer.net. But I wanted to mention that on collegetransfer.net, the post-secondaries have until October to apply and notify PDE how many credits at which colleges and post-secondary, mostly community colleges, align to the collegetransfer.net. But I know in the past, Montgomery County Community College had an articulation agreement for childcare for quite a few programs. Coursework. So here is the website that will show you the programs of study. So what I wanted to point out here is that childcare will come up first. That was in phase 1, and you can see across the top every 3 years we revisit, and the articulation agreements are good for those 3 years. Now this year it changed that your students can only take 16 months to utilize those credits at the post-secondary. But we have them, here's an Excel spreadsheet for the task list, and then there's a crosswalk to academics. So this work has already been done for you. You don't have to look at them and redo them. So I'm going to show you childcare, and as you scroll on down in Phase 3, institutional food worker will be located, and Phase 4 is baking and pastry. So here is the task grid. Can you see my Excel spreadsheet? Okay. So these are the things that the students would need to be able to do and show a competency level for the child care program. So if you're, and I showed the child care program mainly today because today was focused on child care more than any of the other ones. But you can see we go through here, and if you come across any blank that say reserved, that means that that topic had been in initially and has been removed now. So that would... You're not seeing it?
No.
Okay. Thought I saw somebody shake their head.
There you go, thank you.
Okay, sorry, thank you for sharing. Okay, so you can see the topics. They do crime and violence prevention, clinicals, where you're going out and actually working with a different level of students, program partnerships, learning activities and experiences that your high school students would need to be doing with the little guys. Then they develop curriculum. That's why, I always said child care support services was the best program for kids to get into, because if they wanted to be a teacher, they were learning the basics of how to become a teacher by teaching at that early level. And then there's standards, curriculum assessment, classroom management tools, developing social, emotional, physical, intellectual language, and then the orientation to following classroom rules and all that. So, Kim, do you know if your other two people were able to join?
Jean, we should have, Drew should be there.
Okay.
And Dr. Perry did a quick call, so I think she'll be on soon.
Oh, okay. All right. So I'll just muddle on through here, and when they get on, we'll do that at the end, which will be a good segue. So I already showed you on this screen, I already showed you the sample, scope, and sequence. We already discussed the ONET and national standards. And what I did, because I am finished with this PowerPoint as far as what I want to share, but I want you to know that I separated all of the programs that you can apply for on a separate screen and made the links appropriate for each zip code. So does anybody have any questions? Because we went through this. This is for institutional foods, and then that's the end. Okay. So,
Jean, there is one in the chat that Mary has an articulation agreement with RECC for 9 credits, so that's good. Sounds like there's things happening out there.
what does RECC stand for?
Mary, are you there? Can you address that?
Or was it RAC?
Yeah, it's RAC.
RACC, yeah.
It's Reading Area Community College. This will be my 3rd year with the articulation agreement, and I need to talk to them with how school's going to run this year. I don't know if we can meet all of the requirements for the class, but I don't know if they can either. You know, for all the in-class participation with the preschoolers and the elementary students. So,
and Mary, you have not an approved program through the Department of Education.
I have not gone down that path yet.
So how long is your course?
It's on my checklist. Pardon
How
me?
long is your course?
The typical student will follow in 10th grade. We'll take the child development class, which is a 1-credit class. The next year they'll take early childhood, which is a 2-credit class, and it's the combination of those 2 classes that get them the 9 credits.
Okay. Right. So you can see that you can have articulation agreements with high school programs without an approved PDE program. But, you know, the problem with that is you would have to really be pushing towards the CDA and not the CDA ready, because you have to have an approved program for that one. I know it's a step below.
So it is on my list. That's why I'm here. Things to pursue and trying to get it approved. I was kind of looking through a lot of this, like, we do this, we do this, we do this, and I think I have some work to do. So.
Well, that's good. It's always good to have work and a goal, right?
Yeah.
Okay, Sharon, are you here now? They think everybody's in the right room, finally. But that's okay. If Kim and Drew and Sharon want to unmute, I'm going to do a small introduction of the 3 people we have on a panel. They have been working to develop an approved program for family and consumer sciences. So joining us, we have Dr. Sharon Perry, who is the Assistant Superintendent at Conewago Valley School District. She served as the Executive Director of Career and Technical Education at the State College Area School District for 9 years, and for 4 years as an assistant principal. Prior to her administrative experience, she was an English and gifted support teacher at a career and technical education school, a parochial school, and a public school. Mr. Drew Little, the assistant principal at New Oxford High School within the Conewago Valley School District, prior to administration taught learning support and gifted support at New Oxford High School. He has served the Conewago Valley School District for 18 years. Drew completed his undergraduate work at Albright College and his graduate studies at Immaculata University and York College of PA. Mrs. Kimberly Johnston-Smith, the FCS teacher and curriculum leader at New Oxford High School. She leads a team of 3 other FCS teachers, I believe. Kim has been an FCS teacher at New Oxford for 14 years, where she teaches child development, housing and interior design, sewing techniques, and specialty foods. She graduated from Bridgewater College for her bachelor's and received a master's in curriculum and instruction from McDaniel College. The Conewago Valley School District is located in south central Pennsylvania in Adams County. The district covers about 73 square miles, and New Oxford High School has about 1,200 students attending, with around 300 graduates each year. And I believe, if I read their website right, it's located east of Gettysburg and west of York. So I would like you to welcome them, and I'm going to start with a few questions, and you can decide who's going to answer, because you had the questions prior, so you know what I'm asking. All right, so what factors led you to apply to the Pennsylvania Department of Education for an approved program, and who initiated the process?
Kim, do you want to take that one?
Sure. Dr. Perry initiated the process, I would say, for us. She came with a lot of experience and was very shocked to see that we didn't have any approved programs. She saw that we had a relatively strong FCS program at New Oxford, so she was definitely the initiator, and I think I wrote my question to you. We were planning to meet kind of that first week we went on quarantine, so we've kind of had a interesting process to get started with a lot of Zoom calls, but so far it's been very good and very informative.
Yes, and anybody who's interested in opening up a program, just, feel free to reach out and we can walk you through the steps as well. Question number 2, what was your first step once you decided to seek a program approval? Besides calling me.
That was an important phone call.
We really went to the national FCS standards. I pulled all of those. I sent it to my teachers, and we kind of made some columns for each of the classes that we currently teach. We teach about 12 different courses at the high school, and we kind of try to see what would align with what we already taught first, and then things that we thought were maybe a good idea that we could add into courses that we already have. So we really just started with the national standards and worked from there, and then kind of pared them down because it was an insane amount of standards. So kind of pared down our
But those national standards were helpful to you? Were they helpful to you, Kim, when you worked on those?
Yes. Yes.
Good. Third question, how did you go about getting a local advisory committee and occupational advisory committee members? And did other individuals suggest members for those committees?
I can take that one. I'll just say good morning to everybody.
Hi, Drew.
Hi. And just to kind of add into the first question, we continue to look for opportunities and pathways for our students at New Oxford High School and Cuyahoga Valley School District. Obviously, FCS was a no-brainer for us. We continue to have a very strong program. And I think it's just a program that we were looking for to also showcase the talents and strengths of our faculty members. We went through a rebranding process of a lot of our hands-on courses. So we were already looking for approved programs, and it was a natural fit for Family Consumer Science just due to the strength of the program. We also have an extremely interested student population in these programs. So at any given year, we typically have almost half of our student population take at least one course in Family Consumer Science. So it's just a process of looking to how we can develop a structure and a framework for students who are interested in maybe pursuing the Family Consumer Science pathway to actually offer some of these other credentials for them as well. So a lot of students take these courses. However, we definitely have a group or a cohort of students that are very interested, some of them looking to move on to the early childhood education or even into some of the foods and food industry section. I know that the thing that I can't remember the individual who shared it through the FCCELA, that flyer that guided everyone through those specific pathways and those career options. I think that's a great kind of flyer that people could use. That's something that I think we'll definitely share with our students who go through those course selections, and we continue to promote this program to our community. But we're obviously looking to continue to offer multiple pathways for students to experience authentic learning, and hopefully that ties in to a career that they can move forward in as they graduate from New Oxford High School. To kind of go back to your question, sorry about that, our local advisory committee was already kind of pre-established. That largely was due to the members. We had a large group of business partners who partnered with us originally. And we actually, again, went through a rebranding. A lot of it was geared towards our hands-on manufacturing classes and our CTE programs with welding and some of those other type of classes that we've already had before. But a lot of those LAC members were already business partners with us who actually helped contribute and make